Call today's work session order. Please rise for pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Start the work session with financial planning. Mr. Nardone.
So I'm here, Mr. Champy is not. And I'll seek a motion to approve the minutes of September 11, 2025.
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're good. So there's two items that are going to, I'll be looking to move to the October 16th meeting. Are there any questions from the board on those two items?
Number 2,
Yes.
just a little description. I'm not.
Yeah, I just got that from Natasha. I was
Okay.
okay with it. So-
I'm just.
so
That didn't
Natasha,
click
would
into my
you-
memory any of this, so I
Yeah,
wasn't sure.
it's something we've been doing historically, so.
So we currently use PAETEP to do evaluations for professional staff employees. There's a new requirement, it's called a 427 form, as part of the evaluation process from a level 1, which would be most likely a non-tenured teacher, but a level 1 to level 2 certification. So it's a requirement from the state, and this program will assist in that requirement.
And this is for 1 year,
This is for 1 year.
1 year.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions from the public on items 1 or 2? There being none, go to open discussions.
Ms. Galinsky, did you want to come up and start with your discussion for the board? Sure.
Hi, everybody. Katie Galinsky, Regional Manager with the Nutrition Group. Thank you for letting me just take a couple minutes, and I shared just some pictures on your table there, front and back. Sorry, some of the corners got wet because I was bringing waters down. Apologize. What? Food service, right? So I just wanted to start, number one, with one of the biggest changes that happened this year at Crestwood in your food service department is breakfast in the classroom. As a note, and you can see in 17 days, so 17 days of September, we served 21,000 breakfasts to Crestwood students. That number made me skip down the hallway today to the business office because it has been a trying 17 days. I would be lying if I didn't share that. But I just have to commend everyone who made that possible. Number one, the planning with our staff and administration, the elementary principals, and the communication. Truly appreciate it. And of course, the cafeteria staff. You know, they really have changed up their day, and some struggles, but really working through the process there. So thank you to everybody involved. Thank you to administration for supporting, you know, this change. Some positives that have come out in the last couple weeks. I met with a parent yesterday that had, you know, some concerns, and we actually are forming a parent focus group to talk about the lunch and breakfast programs, which I think is going to be so beneficial too. You know, we're actually meeting in a couple weeks to talk further about it and how we can partner, how we could do some nutrition education in the classrooms. So I was really thankful, you know, for the parents to coming and working with us. So that's something so positive, I think, that will continue to benefit of connecting parents with what we're doing here. And finally, just to thank the students for participating. The teachers and the students have been so wonderful. I know that it's been a change, but I think we can all focus on the fact that the administration, teachers, cafeteria staff, principals here really put forth making breakfast available to all students. And I just really think that that's something you should be commended on. So thank you so much for allowing us to do that. I'm so excited as this will continue to grow. And just to report to you on those numbers and some of the feedback through our parents group or student groups and how that's really benefiting their days. So very excited. Had a couple calls from parents with just positive messages, which thought was great. They actually took the time to call the food service office and say, this has affected my day to the positive so much. My student feels so much better that their breakfast is in their classroom and I don't have to worry about it. It's helping me with my work schedule, getting there on time. It's helping me in the morning, getting them up and not having to fit that other piece in. So, I think as we continue to work towards it, I really just commend everybody involved that, it's been a pretty good process to start. So thank you. I wanted to share that. Also, you can see from the pictures, we're currently running Nutrition for Life. Today was the third day of it at our elementaries. Nutrition for Life is a program that the nutrition group sponsors for your youngest eaters. We sponsor the lunch so they can get a free lunch for 3 days. For those kindergarten students, hoping to make them customers for life, where, they get the jitters out of going through the lunch line. So we had some fun days. You can see pictures here from Rice Elementary. We did some stickers and bookmarks out to those students just to, ease any nerves, get them through the line, and they really enjoyed some fun time. So thank you for allowing us to do that. And again, thanks for everybody who helped make that possible. Also, on your other side, just some look at some part of the school year. Couple really fun days that we've had so far. Just earlier this week, Tuesday, we had a waffle bar for lunch, a waffle and pancake bar where the students at the high school can top their own waffles. And our cook at the high school said they absolutely loved that, really excited about the toppings. And again, just some of the different items we've been keeping in the deli line or a la carte line. On the tray, you could see we did a new recipe day last week, October 1st, at the elementary schools, the orange chicken and rice, and the students really loved that. I think we did almost 200 servings at each location of that new item. So sometimes it's hard to get them to branch from the pizza or the chicken nuggets, and they really tried that. It's a brown rice with a low-sodium orange sauce over whole grain breaded chicken, so they really enjoyed that and just trying something new. Next week is new National School Lunch Week, and we're piloting some of our new programs like Take Nutrition Global. So we have lots of fun recipes that are happening. I've been posting everything on our social media, so you can always follow TNG Crestwood Comets on Instagram, so you can see all of the pictures, and everything is right from your lines that the staff is making. You can see also for lunch, we're very close to budget. We are budgeted to serve 17,986 lunches through September, and we serve 17,225. So pretty close there. Of course, we want that to grow. Hopefully the shiny new lunch boxes will wear off a little bit, and we'll be able to increase that number as it goes through. So just again, such a positive thank you for your support with the breakfast. I'm very excited to report next month on the parent focus group, because I think that that's really going to be a great piece to bring here. And again, if you have any questions, I did work with Kristen in the high school, and we made pinwheels back there for you to try or for you to take home. They were made cheeseburger pinwheels. They were made with our sloppy Joe that was served today at lunch. Absolutely delicious. Kristen homemade that today with, again, local beef that you're getting from Happy Valley Farms, which is all PA beef through the PA beef grant, and our pizza dough. So really excited, just something for you to try. Again, this is a recipe that we would make for the students, so even the size and everything you see, this is an entree for them. So just wanted to share. If you ever have any questions, happy to answer it, and thanks for the time.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm not listed on the agenda in open discussions, but given some of the questions that have been coming in related to the state budget from both the board, people stopping me in the school or wherever, I thought it'd be good to give an update. There's been some news that's happened in the last 24 hours that I think deserves a few minutes as well. So one of the questions that I've been getting is, what have we been doing proactively within the district to try to help get us through this time, get us through the budget impasse, knowing that we have delayed money and we're not sure how much we're going to get. So I'll try to answer that question directly first. And it really starts with cash, local revenue, local cash coming in, because we call it a state budget impasse, but it really delays both federal and state money, because the federal money flows through the state. So the only money that we're getting in right now is from local sources. And of course, the primary local source is property tax revenue. And we've been talking about asking the tax collectors to get the money in as soon as possible so we can get it deposited quickly and start earning interest. Well, that's gone very well. October is our biggest month because September 30th is when the 2% discount goes away, so a lot of people wait till late September to pay. So we get a lot of money in early October. And I want to call out specifically Joan Kogut in Rice Township, Debbie Macco in Wright Township, Bruce Lehman in Fairview, and Bev Lukaczynski in Dorrance, our 4 largest ones. And they had their checks in by the second business day of the month in October, which gets millions of dollars into the district to start earning cash very quickly. So that's probably the biggest one. But along those same lines, we don't do a lot of outbound billing out of the district, but we do a little. One of the larger ones we do is billing Wilkes-Barre area for the students who live in Whitehaven, Poconos, but attend Crestwood. Oftentimes, we don't get payment for that until sometimes November. We actually got that a couple months early because we were being proactive, because we knew what we were facing with the state budget. With interest rates, I remember giving the presentation, there was concern, well, what if interest rates dropped? We did get at least one of our banks to lock in on the current interest rate, a slight drop from it, but still in line with budget for another 6 months, so we're protected there. We're also going to be meeting with them to see if there's even a better opportunity with T-bills that might give us another quarter point from what we have, if we could do like a 3-month investment. We can't tie up the money very long, but it's at least something we're looking at. The Imagine 360 annual renewal is up on January 1st. We're actively negotiating with them, seeing if we could get some relief. Probably not as much as we did in the last couple of years, but hopefully there'll be something coming from there. We've taken advantage of every opportunity the state has presented us to help us navigate through these challenges. The one was the debt service intercept program. We did take advantage of that in our debt service that was due on September 1st to the tune of about $1.1 million. The state paid that for us. They're going to recoup that money when the budget impasse is over, but at least we protect that cash and that interest. And that was, frankly, quite a challenge to get through that because it was a new process. And if nothing else, the state can be very bureaucratic, and that took a lot of work to get that done. Similarly, not as bureaucratic, but similarly from an impact standpoint, the large PSERS pension contribution that we make in September, the state offered to cover half of that for us as well temporarily if we got in a certain amount of paperwork. So we've been doing these things to protect the local revenue as best as we can and to keep any money that we do have in-house so we could earn interest on it as best as we can. So where does that leave us right now? Our cash reserves as of yesterday morning were at about $21 million, which is a good place for us to be right now, not as good as where we'd like to be. But the questions have been coming in, well, if the state impasse continues indefinitely, when are we going to run out? When do we have a problem? And I sent some emails to the board. Craig actually sent some good questions, follow-up questions about it. But the short answer is probably early March is when we'd be in a position where our cash reserves are so low that it was too uncomfortable to operate. So to protect against that, if this thing isn't resolved by the end of January, we would probably need to start that process, the borrowing process for a second tran. We could pull the plug on it at any time if it gets resolved in February. But between now and then, we're going to have enough cash to continue to operate the district without any real risk. People have been asking me why we're seeing these headlines. Scranton in particular had a huge headline recently. They're taking very extraordinary action already. How could we be in a better position than that? And there's a couple of reasons, 2 in particular. One is there's 3 school districts, maybe 4, but at least 3, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, and Scranton. They operate their fiscal year on January through December, where we go is July to June. So that means their property tax bills go out in the spring instead of the fall. So they get their big influx in cash in the spring. They're using it. They're running out, where all the other districts are getting their big infusion now. So those 3 districts are facing a different cash flow pattern than we do. Secondly, we're in a position where 60% of our revenue is from local sources, about 40% is state and federal. There's other districts out there that get like 70% from state and federal and only 30% local. So we're in a better position to weather the storm a little longer than those other districts. So what else can we be doing? And this, what I've written down here ties to some news that broke yesterday. The House, I don't know if it was one of the committees or the actual House, put a new proposal together, a state budget proposal, and what got released was much more granular information, at least for school districts, showing what each district would get in each of the categories. And that made its way out throughout the state, and I got it, Natasha got it last night, and then PASBO actually had a special call about it today at noon. There was a couple hundred business managers on this call to talk it all through. And they led the call by stating that we know this information is out there, and because it's so granular, there may be an impression out there that this means we're very close to getting this passed. They said, in their opinion, that's not the case. This got out there, which is good that that level of detail is out there, but it still has to go to the Senate. The Senate's not back in session until October 20th. The House doesn't get back until October 27th. So their opinion is this thing's probably not going to be resolved for the election. So we shouldn't overreact to what we've seen. What I did see, though, from a number standpoint, were in that proposal were very positive to Crestwood. I was kind of taken back, how strong it actually was. But it's not real at this point, so we can't get too excited about it. But we ranked pretty high from a proportional perspective on how much money we'd be receiving. So having said all that, I did, as you guys know, send a recommendation out to the board this week that we do start taking a real close look on any new recurring expenses, in particular new hires, or anything else for that matter, and I wanted to put some color around that. I'm not suggesting that we cancel open positions, and I'm not even suggesting that we necessarily stop hiring all of them. For example, if we have 4 part-time custodian positions open, can we get away for a while with just hiring 2? Things like that. I'm suggesting, the board, administration, look at anything like that to see, can we pause any of this? Not cancel it, but pause it. We're not in a situation where Scranton, some of the other schools are canceling field trips and, extracurricular. We're nowhere near that, but we are getting close enough now that I think we should be looking proactively because we have 75 or 80% of our property tax revenue now. We'll get a few more million in between now and January. We have earned income tax coming in every month, but that's measured in tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands. The $1 million checks coming in are pretty much over. So that's the update I wanted to give on kind of the State of the Union with the financials. Any questions, public or board? Rick?
Has the administration started any discussions relative to high priority hirings that we consider urgent and those that are low priority? And has there been any discussions along those lines? Yet.
This recommendation came to myself and to the board a couple days ago? Yeah, just a few days ago. So it's all fresh, and I'll be working with administration to see what's, and prioritize, I guess is the word that I will use. So I really hope to see a state budget pass. I'm optimistic, right? I keep saying I'm going to be the optimistic one, that it's going to come soon. And I just appreciate everybody's patience with that, the board, administration, the staff, because if we don't hire, immediately for, say, a food service worker, a custodian, that directly affects their workday every day. And, that's not what I want to see happen. I want to see staff, have enough staff, prioritize our students. So that decision will be a collaborative decision because I don't want to see the students affected and the employees because, it's more strain on the employees if we aren't backfilling open positions.
Would now be the time to ask a food service question then? How does this, I don't know, so I'm just asking. Okay. Okay, so Stephanie Weber, Wright Township. Sorry. Okay, so I thoroughly enjoy that breakfast is now in the class. However, the food that my daughter is receiving is not the healthiest of options for the breakfast in the classroom. And most of it is actually full of sugar in the morning. She said she's receiving mostly juice, sugar items, donuts, those types of things, the occasional fruit. So a few questions related to this. Why is the hot meal option not available? Also, how much funding is the state giving us that is going towards this free breakfast? How much waste is there daily that students are not eating this breakfast?
there's plenty of data out there that shows that sugar-filled breakfast does create glycemic spikes, and that is not conducive to a good learning environment in the morning. Even as adults, we know that that's not good for us. We should have a balance of some carbs, some protein. Clearly, this bagged breakfast is not having a protein in the morning. And then to follow up with that, when and where was this parent focus group advertised or announced? Because I know personally, I didn't even know about it, because I would have considered maybe being a part of something like that.
So Ms. Galinsky, do you mind addressing some of them? I can answer some, but I think right from you, I think would be important. Sure. Thank you.
Hi, thank you. So the parent focus group, I met with a parent yesterday where we decided to do a focus group, so didn't even get an opportunity yet to advertise it. Just said that we were going to start to do it. So October, yeah, yeah, literally yesterday at 11 or 9 o'clock in the morning. So
Ms. Galinsky, how are you going to implement that? Is that going to go through like a skyward message so all the families know that they have this opportunity? Do you have an idea of how you're going to?
I apologize, I don't know exactly how I'm going to do it yet. What I had talked with this parent, this was the only parent that had come to me, so that's why I had set a meeting with the parent. So I don't have a exact plan, to be honest, with that so far. So I did ask her, let's just start to meet again. It's myself, so I would like to, start with a group of parents. I did ask the individual that I met with to bring some parents with her, and I just had said that I would run that by administration just to make sure. So honestly, just has started. That's kind of why.
So can we, maybe best would be Mr. Mangini and yourself send out like a message, have like a deadline, very similar to that Comet Community Collective where you accept information, and then depending on the or how many community members want to be a part of it, and then narrow it down if it's a large group. But based upon, I can give you what I used. It seemed to work with seeking interest, and then you guys can set out a message together and accept applications for that.
Sounds good to me. Yeah,
Okay.
Thank you. And so in regards to some of the other, concerns about breakfast, we follow the school breakfast program. At the school breakfast program, the requirements for service at breakfast are 2 grains, 2 fruits, and a milk. So that is what we are serving. Juice is 100% juice. That counts as a fruit in the school breakfast program, school lunch program. There are no protein requirements at breakfast as part of the school breakfast program. Again, these are federal and state guidelines that we're following and that we're made, and that we are reviewed upon. So part of what I discussed and what I would love to see is, just some collaboration on how we can, change some of those things. We do offer fresh fruit every day at every pot if the student chooses to take that. There's milk, low fat, 1% milk, fat-free chocolate milk every day offered at the pot, and again, following all those guidelines. But for lunch, there are protein requirements and grain requirements that we offer, but with the National School Breakfast Program, there are no protein requirements so we are following those regulations. We're with what we're serving and menuing. Did I answer?
What funding do you get from the state and how much?
Sure. So the funding that comes from breakfast is through the federal government for any individual that qualifies for free or reduced. The current severe need funding is about $3 per breakfast, and non-severe need schools, which were split here, they're a little bit different, each building. Non-severe need is about $2.54. I apologize, I'm off a penny or so on those. Pretty close. So the state breakfast initiative funds anyone who is not eligible for free or reduced. So that, so the state funds those paid students who get breakfast. So it's kind of funded. So same thing. So, sorry, I don't want to talk, I feel bad talking this way. So,
It's okay.
okay.
I mean, I get it.
So if the the reimbursement for a free breakfast from the federal government is about 34 cents. The state will fund the rest of that. So $3.04 minus the 34 cents, the state would pick up the additional. And that is written into law with the state breakfast initiative from the governor. Does that answer your question? Yes. Okay. Yep. And then same with reduced.
And then on average, how much waste are we seeing daily? And then what is being done with that waste too?
Yep. So the waste, to give you an absolutely perfect answer of waste, we've only been about 20 some days in. So I don't know that I could say it's been a huge influx of waste. The students are allowed, if they choose to not eat portion of them, so we have essentially some share tables there in the classrooms where maybe they're taking those additional items, and then some have been bringing maybe their item to lunch with them, some have been packing it to maybe go, or supplementing a snack in their classroom that I believe the elementaries have as well.
And from my understanding, please correct me if I'm wrong, that the thought of that share table, if they're not being used by the students, that was going to the backpack program.
I was just going to ask if that was actually happening.
Yes,
Perfect.
that's what I.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
I just wanted to make sure. So
Yeah, absolutely.
we're trying to limit as much waste as possible. Allow the students within their classroom have the opportunity, and then if that desired food is still there, that is then going to the backpack program.
Yep.
And I can double check. I know who runs it at Rice too. I can check and see if
The backpack program?
that's actually happening.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I'm not aware of that happening. I was going to say, I haven't heard from Jill if that's actually happening. That's why I wanted to ask.
Like the crackers, like
Get is in our
Yeah.
PTA closet or from CEO when they bring fresh stuff in.
I can follow up on that too. To my knowledge, it has not been brought to me or that I have witnessed that there has been a ton of waste, where I don't know that that's happening.
I would rather
Yeah.
be used than not be thrown in the trash.
It's definitely not coming back to the cafeteria and we're throwing it away. So I'll follow up.
Are the teachers throwing it away?
Yeah, and I'll follow up with it and see, and just kind of make sure, because I'm not sure that, again, it's being very new, that process just might not be 100%, but I will follow up.
Is all of the funding being used? Is there leftover money that could potentially go towards a protein or another healthier option than, yes, donuts are grain, but they're chock full of sugar?
Well, I think that that's a question, that I maybe can't fully answer. It would be a decision that we would work with the business office on. Right now, any additional reimbursements or reimbursement at all that comes through to the cafeteria can only be utilized in the cafeteria. The goal, I think, for all cafeterias, is to reach a break even, where it's able to support its labor, benefits, food costs, equipment repairs, things like that. So I do know that any reimbursements coming in are to fund the program.
And then lastly, the other question, why is a hot breakfast still not an option? Because you can get protein, eggs, bacon, sausage, those types of things at that point.
I would like to say that a hot breakfast would be a possibility that I would love to work towards, to offer a hot breakfast in the classroom right now and to continue the breakfast in the classroom program would require, equipment purchases. It would require potentially additional staffing options and, items to keep those items hot and make sure we're following all those, HACCP guidelines, that things are temperatured correctly and stuff. I would love to see that happen. It would be a wonderful goal to work towards, to be able to purchase those items and to serve those things. As of right now, we're still just strictly getting this program off and running. We are working towards any of those goals that, I would love to see at this time, just trying to get our feet off the ground, still following those guidelines.
But you have a fully functioning kitchen, so I'm not quite sure what other things you need to purchase. The kids can go there and eat the hot breakfast.
So if we were going to bring the students down to the cafeteria to eat the breakfast, then that would not, that would kind of negate some of the reasons as to why we moved to breakfast in the classroom. Again, to help the students' day and the flow of the day, making it easier for the students to just go right to their classroom for breakfast.
Didn't you have far less students taking breakfast too when they
Yes.
had to go to the cafeteria?
Yes, on average
So
last year,
that cut down significantly.
I understand that, but I'm also seeing, trying to get, there are students in our district that don't get hot meals. So if we're trying to also help the community as well in helping those kids.
But if they weren't going down before, we're trying to get that balance of getting food to these kids.
I personally
And if
would
before
rather
when they,
healthier option as well.
I agreed, and I think they're trying to work toward it and trying to find a balance, but I'm saying, to say, well, we want more kids to have food, and I thought that was a great idea, take it to the classroom so more kids could have it, but now if we say we want it hot and we're going back to the cafeteria where less kids were going to get food, like now you're playing that game.
I think it can happen actually, but
And you would need more staff, because then you need the staff in the morning cooking, so that would
Yes.
play into the equation, if you're working toward that.
Yes.
That would play into that equation.
I would welcome you to definitely come and we can discuss it too. My name's Katie. I'm here every day, so I am in the food service office, and my email, I'm happy to share it so we can
Well, I
chat.
think this parent focus group could be very good, because I know from talking to other parents, there are concerns with the food. So,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just
Thank you.
real quick, Tommy, isn't it in the past, I thought we were always running a deficit with the cafeteria and funding it out of the budget, that deficit, is that
Yeah.
true?
I don't know if I could say always, but I could tell you for 24-25, it did operate as a deficit. It's not fully audited yet, but it's going to be a couple $100,000 to the loss or to the bad. To Katie's point, though, it is absolutely true that the cafeteria fund is a separate fund than the general fund, and money doesn't flow back into the general fund from the cafeteria fund ever. The revenue comes in either from the state or federal sources, and then if it's underfunded, we transfer money out of the general fund into the cafeteria fund. But it's a one-way path. Money never comes out. So it doesn't mean it's all going to be spent on breakfast. You asked the question about breakfast. I can't go to that level, but it is all on cafeteria, on food service. Yep.
Make a motion to move the two to the agenda. No.
So I'll make a motion to move items 1 and 2 to the voting session next week.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye. Thank
Thank-
you, Mr. Nardone.
Thank you.
Transportation Committee, Mr. McCurdy.
Thank you. Mr. Nardone and Mrs. Campbell are present. I make a motion to approve the minutes of the Transportation Committee meeting from September 11th, 2025. I so move.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we have our usual item, October driver's list, to move to the agenda. Are there any questions from the board? Any questions from the public? Seeing none, I make a motion to move this item to next week's agenda. I so move.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Open discussions. Is there anything the board would like to discuss at this time? Any questions from the public? Okay. I move to adjourn. Thank you.
Thank you. Policy Committee, Mr. Boone.
All three members are present. I seek a motion to approve the minutes of the Policy Committee meeting of September 11th, 2025.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Before we go into moving the items listed to the voting session, I want to make a recommendation. I got a call from a constituent this morning trying to look at one of these policies online. And you go to school board, you go to district policies, and we need the policy number written. What I saw when I looked was second reading and adopt, second reading and adopt. These are the headings. Third reading and adopt, third reading and adopt. You don't know what's under that until you click on it. There's no number associated with it. So if we're going to have second reading, maybe policy 903, second reading and adopt policy 122.
Just have it set up like that so we can drop those in so you click it. So if you're following the agenda, you should just click on second reading and then the policy number is right there.
Okay, I wasn't able to find that, okay? Okay,
But that's how we created it a long time ago.
so you click,
It says first and adopt, second and adopt, third and adopt. And then when you click on that, if you're following along looking for second reading as per the agenda, 903 is right there.
okay, because like second reading and adopt, it was listed twice. It was listed twice, and each one was a separate policy, I believe. So we'll see if we can get that cleaned up a little bit. Any questions or comments on item 1 under number 4?
So Barry, on A, the 903, does that allow still for the public comment for non-agenda items?
Yeah, there was last time we tabled it, something got mistakenly crossed out, allowing for public comment on non-agenda items.
Well, we weren't sure if it was still in there, we wanted to make sure it was. So
Right.
that's what was it corrected that it is
Yes,
still in? Okay,
yeah.
so that's good, okay.
What I was able to pull from the website still has it crossed out, yeah. And at the end, at the very end of it, it said it was last modified September 11th. So, maybe we need to update, that item. I did have another question, because it's not defined in the policy. How are we defining the presiding officer? Is that the superintendent? Is that the president? Because a lot of the policy refers to the presiding officer, so I just wasn't sure.
That is the board president.
The board president is the
Yeah,
presiding officer? Okay.
Yeah, for example, when questions from the public are directed to the board, they are all directed to the board president. And again, Robert's Rules of Order and district policy, you don't ask specific board members for their response or opinion on an item. It goes to the board president, who makes a response for the board. All members of the board are free to chime in, but the public should not direct questions to specific board members other than the president. That's Robert's Rules of Order, which we follow. That's standard policy throughout most districts in the state.
And I believe it says presiding officer, so if the president's not here, then it falls to the vice president, then to the secretary, then to the treasurer.
Okay. Since it doesn't seem that we even have the updated policy on the website at this time, can we table this? Or, I think that I have concerns about the way that this continues to come back to us. I think that it's important to be able to let people make comments. So I respectfully ask that the committee not move this to the agenda as it exists right now, because it doesn't.
It's only a second reading. We are not adopting this next week. Okay, so we'll have that straightened out by next week's board meeting. If there are any mistakes, I'll go over it again. I went through it this morning. I will go over it again. Any corrections will be made by next week, and the adoption will actually be in November. Any other questions or comments from the board? The public?
Good afternoon. My name is Christopher Madden. I'm a resident of Fairview Township, and I come before you not just as a taxpayer, but as a parent and community member who believes in open and transparent government. This evening, I want to speak about Policy 903, public comment in board meetings, because I believe this policy threatens the very foundation of public trust in this Crestwood School Board. By restricting all public comment to the very start of meetings, this policy shuts residents out of the process. How can our voices matter if decisions are discussed or voted on after we've already been silenced? Public comment should inform deliberation, not be brushed aside before it has the chance to begin. This policy gives the presiding officer and solicitor sweeping authority to cut people off for being too lengthy, not relevant, or profane. Those terms are extremely vague and subjective and could easily be used to unblock or to block uncomfortable truths. Criticism of government is not always polite, but in the United States of America, it's always protected. Committees are where the groundwork for big decisions are laid, and yet this policy makes public comment at those meetings optional. That undermines accountability. If the community voice is excluded from these committees, then much of the real decision-making happens without any public voice at all. Our community deserves more opportunities to be heard, not fewer. This board should be finding ways to expand transparency and participation, not restrict it. I urge you to reconsider Policy 903, expand public participation instead of limiting it. Our schools, our children, and our tax dollars demand decisions made in light of full transparency with other people's voices at the table. Thank you.
Mr. Madden, have you seen this board limit someone speaking at the board?
Yes, I have.
You have?
Yes.
I mean, we've never cut someone off at time, and not at time. No, not on time.
I'm not trying to accuse the board of specifically anything. I would think that the way the policy is written would restrict constructive dialogue with the public.
And I agree. I mean,
I'm not here pointing fingers.
The opportunity to speak and speak your mind at these
So-
meetings is crucial.
I mean,
and
the
I've
one-
always been open, right, particularly in making sure that everyone's able to express their ideas outside of those guidelines. My question that everyone understands is, we don't develop these policies. They come from the state, from the Pennsylvania State Board Association. And they basically recommend this to adhere to state code and state policy. And we review and update policies every time they submit monthly. Here's policies that need to be updated. They get submitted and they get reviewed by the policy committee and they make their adjustments. So these policy changes, no matter what they are, they're coming from the state down to the boards, every board. And you could look at other boards and look at the policies. They look very similar, right? And it's just about when they update them. I agree with you that this policy on the surface was limiting those things, and I think we addressed it in the last meeting, and it was pulled, and even Marla and Lauren's concerns, that's going to be adjusted because we value that comment period. So on those issues, understand that very rarely is a policy developed at the board level. It's coming down, and we're looking at it to see how it fits in, and basically you're choosing A, B, or C, in all honesty, right?
Correct, and by seeing the edits and the strike-throughs, someone is doing that, striking through, and I would
That's
assume.
the policy committee.
Well, correct, so therefore, people are alternating these somewhat standard ordinances to fit a goal, and that's what I'm worried about.
Well, to fit local, like, we'll get a copy of a policy update from the state, and in certain areas, you have a choice. You can't do A, B, and C. You do A or B or C. And what you see as strike-throughs is the changes recommended by the state to take out of our presently active policy, our current policy. That strike-through is what they recommend for us to take out. I think there might be a little misinterpretation on allowing the public to speak. The thing about addressing the presiding officer, addressing the public beforehand, is to set up the guidelines as to how we do it. And we do, as we go through the agenda on the day that we vote, we say, okay, these are the items we're going to vote on, and we allow public discussion on each category as we go through, okay? As far as the time limitation, We rarely enforce it. There are times we do. I know when we went through furloughs,
Yes.
if we allowed every person as much time as they wanted and we started at 6:30 in the evening, we'd probably be there till 6:30 in the morning. So there are certain times when we, because of the nature of the topic, that we do enforce the 3 minutes, but primarily, we say you're limited to 3 minutes, but we allow to go on as long as time permits.
There is a stipulation, I think, in which I read the policy that said the board could, it also said the board could grant more time if a majority of the board voted, but that was also struck.
That was, and that was a recommendation by the state to take that one out.
Right, so I guess I'm not trying to accuse anyone of anything specific. I'm just saying I urge the board to work with the solicitor or whoever helps write these policies to make sure that we're not cutting out the voice of the concerned citizens, taxpayers, parents, et cetera.
And like I said, they are vetted legally at the state level before they even come to us. They have a legal team look at each policy before they send it to the school districts in the state.
But the board is in agreement. We all want to still be able to have people come and speak their mind. And that's what we said, we all wanted to make sure, especially my understanding reading it was that with the one strike through, people were still able to comment on the agenda. It was making sure we also had the non-agenda item conversation at the end that we want to make sure we keep. And I think there was even just a little misunderstanding with the policy, thinking they were leaving it in and they were taking out. And that's what we discussed at the last meeting. And we said, we want to keep it in.
So
Maybe there's some more and I'll be honest, I was on policy for a while. Sometimes you are reading them. You think you're checking one thing. The legal jargon sometimes gets a little confusing, which is why we have a committee and then we discuss it as a group and then we even discuss it publicly. But I will say as a whole, there hasn't been one board member who's saying, hey, we want to cut people off, or we don't want to have this. So right now we need to get this policy right, but we all agree with you. We want to keep people being able to come up about agenda items and about non-agenda items at the end of the meeting. So we all completely agree.
we will clarify by next week, and again, it's not going to become official policy until November.
Absolutely, and again, to your point, I would only comment on what I found and read, not necessarily the intent behind it, and that's why I wanted to bring it to the board's attention today.
I completely agree with you. But yeah, but thank you for speaking on it, and just know that the whole board, that's how we want to keep it going.
Thank you very much.
My name's David Green. I live in Dorrance, and I'd like to dispute what you said about anybody being shut down. When the board asked for people to think outside the box about how to raise money and stuff, I offered a few suggestions. One board member said, quote, "Case closed, end of discussion," and shut me down. Do you remember that? Or would you like Stephanie to have to go back into the minutes and get it? Because no one ever said anything to me about that, and I got shut down. So let's be factual. People do get shut down, and it wasn't you, sir, and you're supposed to be in charge of the board. It was a member that shut me down, and that's not right. And that's what that man's talking about, getting shut down. I got shut down. So just remember.
Other input on item 1, A through E?
Justin Mirilovich, 504 Fairview Parkway. Just a question, the policy coming from the state, is it required that we adopt those changes, or is it just recommendations that the board can keep items in our policy?
We get an introduction every time. They may send us 5 policies. They will give us a brief description of what the changes are within the policy. And then they will say recommendation or recommendation for legal purposes or required. Some of these policies are required. You are required to have by law. So it depends on the policy, and the wording is different. It could be a recommendation, it could be recommended for legal purposes, in which case we want to cover ourselves. So it depends on the policy and what the state recommends as further action. And some, yes, we get some, we have some sitting that because of the change in leadership in the federal government that it's related to Title IX, and we shelved them. We still have them set aside. We did not act on them because things are changing on the federal and state levels, and we don't know which way to go. So right now, we took no action on those. The D&E here were locally generated. We had some questions from the public. We generated those two. So it varies widely, widely.
Okay, so thank you for reinstating the item on page 2 of the policy. But going back to page 5 or 4 or 5 about the majority voting, which some of the other public members have commented on, is that a required change that we're removing those? Or was that a recommendation, legal recommendation, or?
I don't have the policy in front of me. I would guess that most of that is the legal recommendation from the state.
Okay.
But I would have to look further at the policy, which I don't have right now.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? If not, I make a motion to move item 1, parts A through E, to next week's voting session. I so move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any other open discussion on policy? If not, we will adjourn.
Thank you. Human Resources, Mrs. Bibla.
Thank you. All members are present. I make a motion to approve the Human Resource Committee from September 11th, 2025. I so move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I'll be making a motion to move items 1 through 7 to the voting meeting next week. Any questions from the board? Any questions from the public? Seeing none, I make a motion to move items 1 through 7 to the voting meeting next week. I so move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Open discussion, seeing none on the agenda. Any open discussion for Human Resources from the board? From the public? Seeing none, adjourn.
Thank you. Academic Programs, Mr. Champy.
I seek a motion to approve the minutes of the Academic Programs Committee meeting on September 11th, 2025.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
And I'm making a recommendation to approve the following to the October 16th meeting. It is items 1 through 2. Any questions from the board? Any questions from the public? Seeing none. I adjourn. Or do, I'm sorry. Approve the following to the October 16th, 2025 meeting. I so move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Open discussion?
Good evening. Good evening. Bill Heckman, Science Department Chair, Secondary Campus. Here with some updates. A couple things not on here I wanted to talk about. First was the Science Lab. Mr. Gene Paisley had donated money, and we were able to furnish a new chem lab, refurbish a biology lab, and refurbish an old chem lab. And we appreciate that. Everything's working out great. So thank you very much. Second thing, not on here, which I'll send to you guys so you can see it, because there's some numbers on here. The AP bio class is up and running. We have 5 classes going. We had over 100 kids. We had to turn some away. Marie's doing a great job with it, brand new this year.
I don't mean to interrupt, 5 classes of AP Bio?
Yes.
Wow.
She's teaching them all. So she's busy, but she's enjoying it. Kids are enjoying it as well. So some noteworthy things, the Environmental Club will be recognized by the Pennsylvania Environmental Council and the Northeast Environmental Partners on October 23rd, 2025. Sarah Nemchek runs that, and there'll be 4 students, Sarah Nemchek and Maria Coons, going down for a ceremony. It's a pretty big deal. I looked it up. It's this is their 35th year, but Back Mountain Bloomers Garden Club, Friends of Salt Springs Park, the Watershed Coalition of Lehigh Valley, and the Wonderful World of Water Camp, Pennsylvania American Water. They're all adult organizations, so we're the only student, or this is not, it's rare that we're a student organization, so kudos to Sarah Nemchek and her kids. All 3 buildings are going to participate in the Next Trex Plastic Challenge, the Recycling Challenge. We did it last year here at the high school. Sarah Nemchek's going to do it again here at the high school. Alyssa Bellis is doing it, and at Rice, and Julianne Wickheiser at Fairview. Okay, and they're doing it separate. Sarah's helping it, but they had asked to start that also.
And who's doing it at the high school?
Sarah Nemchek again.
Okay.
PJS up and running. Students are in the process of choosing their projects. Regional competitions at Wilkes, February 28th. AP scores, we all want to know. So AP Physics, AP Physics 1, Physics 2 surpassed. Well, all AP classes surpassed both the Pennsylvania and global percentages. So AP Physics 1, Crestwood was 78.9% compared to 69.7 and 67.3%. AP Physics 2, 85.7% passed, 70.1% and 72.8% global. The AP Environmental Science percentages were 89.2% passed compared to 77.7 and 69.2. And Desiree Hoyt, AP Chemistry, first year doing it last year, 93.8% passing rate for Desiree. So great job.
Is 3 considered passing? With
3
the
is
AP
still
test,
passing.
3 is still
Yeah,
passing?
3
Okay.
pass, 3, 4, or 5 still. Yep. Physics classes. We're actually partnering with a former Crestwood grad, Daniel Whitman, with Villanova University. Kathy Rickroad's doing that. They're piloting 2 robots. One robot's going to do energy with the goldfish consumption, and the other one is doing jawbones of a snake, and they're using it for position, velocity, and acceleration. So brand new, pretty cool. Science clubs and advisors, I listed some of them that we have going. Science Olympiad 9 through 12th, Environmental Club 7 through 12, and the Envirothon team 9 through 12. They're all run by Sarah. Myself and Sarah are PGS sponsors. There'll be more science people, I'm sure, and math, obviously. The Green Club 9 through 12, Kathy Rickroad, and thank you again for the Watershed team. We're still out there doing that. So, and then I always ask for areas of concern. Just obviously, it's as usual. It's the large class sizes for the IEP for the general ed. So it's always a flip-flop. There's lower numbers for some of the APs, not the bio. It's brand new. That will fade once they figure out how much rigor there is, I'm sure. And then, but the IEP classes, it will. You're laughing. It will. And then, yeah, it's just, but we're managing. Their special education department's great about resources, their teachers. The aides are fantastic that we have in the room. So that's it. Any questions for me?
How do you feel the labs are holding up?
Great.
They're good, like you're happy with?
Yeah,
Okay.
any issues we had, they were on it and they fixed it. They put hot water in the end of last year in our bio lab that wasn't there before, so it was never there. Now it is. So, yeah, anything that's wrong is taken care of very quickly. Science is definitely taken care of, so we appreciate that. Last year, 22 students took it. It is. The environmental was higher. They were like 60-something the year before, and she was at 90-something percent. She went down a little bit this year. But yeah, populations are smaller. Popular? That's a loaded question. Physics is a lot of rigor. And when I'd say collectively hired Kathy Rickroad, one of the things we had asked for was rigor. And she brought rigor. And then she got beat up for her rigor a little bit. Yeah, she got beat up a little bit, community and whatnot. She's still maintaining that rigor, but to answer your question, those AP classes, the physics is rigorous. So we are disappointed in the number of physics students coming out. It's very challenging, and quite frankly, they're worried about their GPAs being damaged. A lot of GPA chasing. Just GPA. Risk of a GPA drop and class rank. And we're trying to put the message out there that this class rank really is not the be-all, end-all at all. What these schools need to see are these kids are challenging themselves with the rigor of these classes and the demand. And anything else doesn't matter. So if they see a kid got a 4 on the test and had a C in the class, they don't care about the C in the class. They care about the 4 on the test.
One thing that was shocking to me, Bill, when with my older son, when we started looking at colleges, and we went out to Carnegie Mellon, and they said right off the bat, so he was looking at engineering, and they said right off the bat, okay, if you're applying for engineering, if you're not taking the highest science and math your school offers, we're throwing out your application. They said right off the bat, they said, no, I don't care what your GPA is, so to your point, to these kids, yes. I mean, depending what you're looking for, depending on the college you're looking for, or the career, I mean, challenging yourself is far more important to a lot of these colleges than your GPA. I completely agree with you.
And at some point, I'd like the committee to sit down with the committee, some of our teachers. We have a lot of ideas of how we can try to fix this grade chasing to benefit the students taking the class with lack of fear of the grade. So.
To credit to Mr. Grote, this blew me away, but Austin at his freshman year last year were helping kids with physics, and he wasn't in the class yet. So he was helping kids take a college-level physics class because of Miss Rickroad and the AP1 and AP2 physics classes. So I think it shows, though, they're getting a great education, in them. So he's helping these kids in this class, and he hadn't even had to take it yet. So
it is.
It's working, yeah.
It is. The AP Physics and the AP Chem are two of the toughest tests, and there are our lowest number of kids taking them because the rigor is there. Ms. Hoyt is notorious for her rigor and how difficult her Chem 2 class is. She dropped from 22 last year down to, I think she said 16 this year. So I think if we could do something with the grades, maybe numbers would go back up with them. I'm not sure exactly how we could fix it, but we need to maintain the rigor and try to get away from grade chasing and class rank, in my opinion. Probably, but guidance it tries to explain that to them. Again, I have a lot of things that we could talk about, probably not for this time because people are going to throw things at me.
And I'll be honest, I didn't know. I was shocked when I sat in that meeting and they said that. I didn't know. He was a junior at the time. And I looked at him, I said, boy, aren't you glad you didn't drop AP Physics? Because it was so tough, right off the bat. And I think some of the kids were in shock. But, they got through it. And I think it's also a lesson, just because it's not easy right off the bat doesn't mean you have to quit, it's worth putting in the time. But I was shocked to that answer, Rick. I didn't realize how much important it was, depending on the college and career, that you're challenging yourself more than the GPA.
And I think more than just getting into the college you want is being able to maintain the rigor that's required in college. So if you're never used to that and then you go to college, these kids are dropping out of these programs. If they're ready for it, your son probably felt pretty confident compared to his peers, to the point where he was, yes.
And I'm glad the rigor's there and the grades are there, because when I taught AP, I thought it would be very unfair for a kid to get an A all year and not pass the test, or a B all year and not pass the test. So to have the grades match exactly what they're doing, I think is awesome.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, thanks.
So under open discussion, I have a few calendar date reminders for students and family. I'm not going to read them all to you, but just to highlight a few, tomorrow is Enact 80 Day for our faculty for professional development, so students will not be reporting tomorrow, or on Monday, the district is closed for Columbus Day. Halloween, we have an early dismissal plan, 12 p.m. for secondary campus, and 1 p.m. for elementary, and our quarter one ends November 10th. There's a few other more dates there. Well, I started reading them. I guess I'll read them all. American Education Week and Open House and / Gallery Night. That's on November 18th for elementary and November 19th for our secondary campus. I'm also very excited to share some information. It's called Comet Soar After School Tutoring Program. This is a new initiative that I am proud of, and I'm proud of the collaboration with the Crestwood Education Foundation. They are going to fully fund our pilot program for our after-school tutoring program. This program will be district-wide, and I will be working with the CEA union. We're going to collaborate together with the teachers, how this after-school program will roll out to families. Is it a referral process? Is it anyone that can sign up for it? But just a few highlights. What we're looking to do is our teachers will be staying after school to provide any kind of tutoring, whether it's enhanced reading, whether it's after-school homework, it's personalized learning directly right from our teachers. And I'm looking forward to working with the foundation. Again, thank you so much for the Crestwood Education Foundation to fully fund this piloted program. And I look forward to working with the union to just figure out what's best. Is it 1 hour? Is it 1 hour and a half? Is it 2 days a week? But I'm very proud of this new initiative for this school year. Just a quick update for our Mountaintop After School Art Program. That did start this past week. Just to highlight the amount of students that have registered. We did hit our max at Rice, which was 30 students. And Fairview, as today, we have 13 students. So that program is up and running. And just a friendly reminder, that was starting at our elementaries. And then, I think it was November, we'll start that after-school offering program for our secondary campus around November, December. And finally on here, this family asked to be anonymous, but they did donate a washer and dryer for our life skills classroom at the secondary campus. So I just want to thank this family for their generosity. Again, that is deeply appreciated, and our students and Mr. Thomas are taking advantage of the new washer and dryer. So thank you to them.
And the Mountaintop After School Art Program, some partial funding there, also from the Crestwood Education Foundation, helping them get some supplies to get off the ground.
All right, thank you, Natasha, and thank you, Mr. Heckman, as well. With that, we can move to co-curricular.
I know, right? Thank you. Thank you. Both myself, Mrs. Bibla, and Mr. Boone are present. First, I'd like to approve the minutes of the co-curricular committee meeting from September 11, 2025. I so move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm going to be asking for approval of the following items 1, 2, and 3. I had a question. Mike and I had spoke over the handbook, but it just occurred to me, how are we having the students sign that? Is that something the coaches are going to hand out to them? Is that, yeah, okay. I'm sorry, Mike, I should have asked you that earlier. It just occurred to me.
Once it's approved, each season we'll do a
Mhm. Okay, okay, thank you. Any other questions on these items from the board? From the public? No, seeing none, then I make a motion and ask for approval of items 1, 2, and 3.
Motion?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None? Okay, and then there is an update on the Trap Club from Mr. Thomas.
Thank you. Before I start, actually, I want to also thank the family very much. Our life skills class is doing great, and the Washington Dry helped out tremendously, so I want to thank them also for that. So I want to thank you also for allowing me a few minutes to come before you tonight. Last June, I came to you guys and asked about having a trap team started. We started everything in July, got everything going. I knew that when the student, Donnie Fetterman, came to me, I knew his family was very supportive of it. I never imagined how overwhelming the entire community was going to be with this. Just the amount of outpouring from donations and time and everything, it was very satisfying to see that in community and be reassured that there is such support out there. So with that, make sure I use this right. Down. Thank you. So, the team has built many friendships, and throughout the summer, the team has continued shooting at New Angola Rod and Gun Club on Wednesdays and Sundays, and the Barron Summer League. A few of our team members have signed up for 2 other traveling leagues in the Lehigh Valley area that started in October and will run through March of 2026. Team members have also signed up for the Fall League in New Angola that is currently taking place now. This past year, we had 3 girls on the team for this first season. Excuse me, 2 official and 1 signed up late. We had new students coming from 7th grade. They're excited. Just today, I saw 2 students wearing our sweatshirts. I'll get to in a second. You can see in the picture we have all of our shirts on the back side, our sponsors listed. The students are having a fun and great time. We had a big focus on gun safety. I wanted to also thank Mr. Sassu. He used to be the security officer here. He's the NRA certified instructor. He came and did the safety the lessons for the students. In addition to that, overall we had 17 active students. We meet on Wednesday nights. We started in March this past year. I already have students coming up to me and asking me when we can start things up this year a little bit sooner. I had, again, the support from coaches. Mr. Morris helped out, or he was our head coach, Josh Balliott, myself, and Joe Frederick. In addition to that, Joe's wife, Donna, overwhelming the amount of stuff she did, organizing all of our practices, our money and everything, the raffle tickets that we did, our end of the year party, everything. There's just so much that we did. The sponsors, we had over 50 sponsors throughout Mountaintop and the local community. Things that we also did were raffle tickets. We had shirts and sweatshirts that we had. Like I said, we had the sponsors put on the backs. The purchase that we did, we were able to, I talked to Hazelton when I went down to observe their practices. They, in the past, did a pallet of shells, and it was very overwhelming to do that. They said trying to manage everything. We were able to purchase a whole pallet of shells. It cost almost $10,000 for that. That was covered from our sponsors. All the fees at the range were covered. Team shirts for the students, all the players, they all got shirts and hoodies that were covered. Our fees for the state competition that we did, which we'll get to in a second, that was all covered. Like I said, we covered food. We had at this range, they have a little restaurant, not a restaurant, but like a little bar thing. They serve food. The students' stuff there was covered. All our awards at the end of the ceremony, we gave gifts out to the best shooters and things over kids that had most improvement as well. And at the end of the season, we had extra money left over that we finished off by paying for some students to do a summer program at Barron Acres. So some of the students I wanted to recognize, Donnie Fetterman, again, like his family was just amazing. He was one of our first players to get a straight 25. And when they shoot, 25 is what they do each round. He got a perfect score. In addition to that, Jim Danini, Nate Frace, and Wyatt Chalkner both got straight 25. They all got 25s. Donnie continued to do a straight 50, a straight 75, and a straight 100. So that's back-to-back 4 in a row that he got. It was very impressive to watch.
Some other awards, when we went down to Elysburg, Rylin Buchanan got the highest for the girls, Liam Balliet got the highest average for boys, and Noah Koshnik got most improved. Jim Danini and Gabby Fetterman both got awarded. You can see the pictures of them for the highest of their level in their age bracket. We had 2 volunteer shoots that the kids all volunteered their time, gave up a whole Saturday for the American Legion. It's meat shoots. They do a ham shoot where the best out of each group gets free ham. All of our players, I think almost the entire team was there to help out for that. We also just recently had Dorrance Fire Hall had a gun raffle that the students volunteered at. You can see the picture there too. Some of the boys, they made some gun racks that they donated to the American Legion and also New Angola Rod Club. That they had the materials donated, and they donated their time and everything, bring them there. As for this year coming up, the 26th season, we're looking to get some more female members specifically. Also, additional competitions. There's another competition we'd like to possibly get into that's down near Pittsburgh area. It does cost a lot of money, so if we can raise enough funds to cover that, we'd like to. And we're looking at doing some practices with Hazelton, and I believe Dallas is talking about starting a team as well. So that's it. I want to thank you guys again for getting this started and allowing us to do this. Any questions or anything?
Pretty impressive first year.
Yeah, I was very impressed, very overwhelmed. It's in the evening. That's one of the big things we did with this was that we don't start until 5 o'clock. So if students have other sports they can do that first and come. We actually, Donnie Fetterman, one of them, he does lacrosse, and he could do his lacrosse practice, finish up, and he races right over and still gets to do our practice. Yep, it's the open shoot part. They have it for, like, there's 2 stations. They have an open shoot at the lower one. We take the upper one that they dedicate to us. All right, thank you very much.
I was debating, I'm not sure even the proper committee, whether this is co-curricular or physical plant, but I know I've been in a lot of talks with Mike and Natasha over our fall field usage and more importantly, room, for all the teams. And I know Mike's been a great help trying to help organize that teams aren't trying to practice at 7 o'clock at night, which is now dark. So, we've played around with a lot of ideas. We've looked at cost of portable lights, being able to bring them out like onto the side fields where we'd have lights. My thought, the plus of that is that could be used for every sport. So you could have it on the side field. If soccer needs it, you could roll it to the field hockey field. If they need it in the spring, you can use it for baseball and softball. So I think there's definitely a wide range of use that would extend practice time. The problem with that is the cost. So, doing some research, they're coming in at about $10,000 a unit for a field. Just the little bit of research I did, we're looking at least 3 units. I did not look into any research on a baseball or softball field, how many would be needed. So that I don't know if that would be the same or if that would be a definite 4. So I'm just throwing that out there as a down the road type thing as a possibility. My recommendation also though is that we do a trial of that. If that ever comes down the road that we're even thinking of that, you can rent them for a day, and maybe rent them and just see if they even work, if they even like them, do the 3 work. So I'm definitely not saying, hey, we need to buy these. I'm just saying it's a thought, but my recommendation would definitely be a trial. And I know we secured a donation of someone willing to donate for a day, to even do that trial. What I would like to see is possibly, which I think a cheaper alternative, a quicker alternative would be getting a field in that lower field behind the stadium. I talked to both head soccer coaches. They said they would love to have extra grass space down there. So right now, if the boys soccer team gets bumped from their practice time, which is 7 to 9, because that's the only time they could get it, they've been, going to the grass, but now it's getting dark. So I felt too dark right now to be safely practicing. So they can move it up earlier, but now they're bumping the girls' middle school soccer. So again, we're just in a space issue, but if we had that backfield space, I know Mariana, too, the girls' soccer coach, said there's days they can't warm up before a game because maybe there's still a practice going on before their game, so they don't get the warm-up time on the field, because they're waiting for that practice 10, and then their game pretty much gets started pretty quickly. So she was thrilled because that would give her a warm-up space in the back. So I've walked it. I've had a few people walk. I've had some coaches walk it. I think it's definitely a possibility without much work. I know I was afraid we'd have to add dirt. I don't think we do.
I know when those fields, that
Yeah.
was first put in, we had a real tough time getting the grass to grow down
Yes,
there. So
yes.
how's that?
It's doing much better,
Okay.
much better. I know it's a little rough in the beginning when you come off the road. It seems like that would be a space I wouldn't recommend touching because I know football uses that space. I know that's lined for football, and I don't think the grass is as much of an issue for football. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Mr. Arcangeli would disagree with me, which we could look into that. But I know they're using that section, so I would recommend a field more in the behind that. I don't believe there'd be room to have it regulation, but the coaches seem to be fine with that because it'd be for practice, right? Exactly. We already have 2 goals, so I mean, the cost wouldn't be there. The only thing I think we would have to do is put up, there'd be a section we would need a netting, because otherwise the balls are just gonna end up down that hall. And considering when I practiced middle school boys and I'd have 12 to 14 boys at the very end of the field, somehow those balls still went down that hill. I said, I don't know how, but somehow we still managed at least twice to have a ball down. So I think a netting, but I mean, I think that would be a low cost. I mean, we did the netting at the side field to stop the balls from going into the picker bushes where the kids were getting cut. And I mean, that was something our maintenance staff were able to install themselves. So I'm just bringing that up. I think it would help multiple teams. If that's something maybe next year we could be looking at, but I do think a net would be the only cost that I could see. So that was just something I wanted to bring up, but I do appreciate Mike really trying to work the schedule and the practices and trying to keep the kids
And I think
safe.
behind the football field, we have a couple manhole covers we'd have to
There
be
is,
wary of.
there is a manhole cover, but I mean, there's a manhole cover on the grass field where middle
Yeah.
school
But that-
plays, but it is on the field, I'll be
Okay.
honest,
Oh,
it's on,
is it?
it is
It's
on the
on the
field,
field.
yep, it's on the field, because the water company the one day came and dug it up, and we had to quick fill it, because there was a game that day. But I mean, you could dirt over
Yeah.
it, like, so there is one out there that would have to be dirted
Fixed,
over.
yeah. Okay.
You know, I really think it's level enough now. I really do. I really do. I wouldn't put like a game back there. Don't get me wrong. I'm not it's gotten much better. Like in the past few years, it's really, you know, I walked it. There used to be like rocks and divots, and it's really kind of leveling out. So I'm just bringing it up to the board's attention, just something I think it would be a very cheap, you know, alternative and ability to just give our players a little bit more room. So possibly for next year.
One set of low pollution lights on a pole would cover that area.
So you're talking down behind the field? I mean, I didn't look at that. I mean, you're gonna get lighting off your main light for that. So, I mean, you could even possibly get more time. Yeah. I mean, I was just thinking it's an extra field that you even extend that 5 to 7 practice. You know what I mean? Like, so then maybe the lights aren't even as much as a necessity. I did not go to the backfield after 7 o'clock. So I'm not promising that would be a 7 to 9 option. Yeah, my guess is it probably gets too dark after, even with the lights. The 2 of them are out, I think, I believe. I believe 2 are out.
Yeah, we have plans
Okay.
right after this season's before
Okay.
spring to change those.
So it's possibly with those on that would even, then you wouldn't even need anything, so. No, definitely not. And like I said, I mean, I'm not the best with visually judging distance, but I don't think it would be regulation. You know, but it would be close enough, and I think, you know, and like I said, the coaches seemed really happy with even the idea. So just something, like I said, since I have been talking to Mike and Natasha about it, and they were aware of some of the situations, I just wanted to bring it up to the whole board, you know, so that everyone was aware. And that I do think that is a possibility in the future, and it would just be the budgeting of a section of the net just for safety of the kids. So any other questions from the board or the public on co-curricular? Nope, seeing none, then I adjourn the committee.
Thank you. Physical plant, Mrs. Campbell and Mrs. Bibla are in attendance, as I am. I make a motion and seek a second to approve the minutes of the Physical Plant Committee for the meeting of September 11th, 2025.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
There's nothing to move to the voting session. Move on to open discussions. Mrs. Milazzo?
Thank you. So one of the last projects that we had for this summer, the capital improvements, was the Fairview Elementary Generator Project. If you can recall that we still needed to finish up the connection, and that work is slated to be completed by the end of the Columbus Day weekend. So I want to thank the entire Fairview Elementary staff and faculty. They're going to be moved to the secondary campus tomorrow. So the generator contractors, Mr. Yanuzzi will be there to do the necessary hookup why the students are not in session. So just want to let everybody know that that project did not go by the wayside. We're still finishing up some connections. We did get a occupancy grant extension until November 1st. So all of that process, and I want to thank the code officials for working with us, because that was my decision to delay. We weren't able to get that part of the project done before the students got here, but I did not want to interrupt the students' day. So I'm thankful that they granted the extension so that we can limit the most impact to the students, so we're doing it over Columbus Day weekend. I do want to, so again, thank you to the staff for cooperating with us on that. I do want to address today the Rice water outage. And, I was notified, Mr. Mangini called me, I believe it was like a little, maybe after 7 or close to 7, is when he was notified that the water, we didn't have water pressure. We started to get water through the faucets. Unfortunately, I had to make that decision very quickly, and I am apologetic that it came so quick to all the families, but thank you for your support in that. As of right now, we do have running water, and we can flush the toilets, but it's the pump right now. So we had a contractor. Thank you to Mr. Mangini. Thank you to the maintenance staff that tried to troubleshoot it. We had a lot of vendors there. They're coming back tomorrow. So there's a lot of emphasis and focus and backup plans if those backup plans don't work. But right now, the water pressure is stabilizing. I plan on sending an update to the community as soon as I have an update. I don't want to send an update prematurely, so most likely I will update the families on Monday so that they know, that Rice is back up and functioning. But positive, started out a little negative, right, that I had to make that call, but towards the end of the day, it was looking positive. So please stay tuned to be patient with me, with my messages, and again, I want to thank the Rice staff. Unfortunately, they were not able to report to work today, and I just appreciate everyone working together.
Thank you. Any questions from the board? Public?
I have one other item that, again, this is 2 months in a row, I thought is something during physical plant that I wanted to mention during finance. All this talk about electrical is what triggered it to me. I usually try not to get agenda items added to the regular meeting that are not in the work session. This month I was unsuccessful with that. The board will remember during the budget presentations that we knew we were going to experience a big spike in electrical charges come January 1, but we were going to have to shop it around as it got closer. So that got done over the last few weeks. Bids, it's not really bids, it's more shopping than bids, but that entire analysis from the different electrical supply providers will be sent out to the board tomorrow morning with the low price identified and comparison of that, the budget. That's all coming. That detail will be shared next week, but just a heads up as to why it's not on tonight. It just didn't get it done in time.
Thank you. Any other questions? We adjourn. Move on. Technology Committee, Mrs. McCurdy.
Thank you. Mrs. Chater-Zagaric and Mr. Champion are present. Make a motion to approve the minutes of the Technology Committee meeting from September 11th, 2025. I so move.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. We do have one item to move to the agenda. Mr. Blanchard did update me a little bit on what this service is about, but I was hoping Mrs. Milazzo could clarify a few things. Go ahead.
Yes. With this being a safety, security measure, I'm limited, but I will give the board and the community as much as I can. This is another new initiative with this school year. It's always been an initiative of safety, but this specific agreement for the district, for the board to consider and hopefully approve, is security enhancements, taking our security measures to that next level. This was an administrative decision. This was done with our Act 55 coordinator. It was with Mr. Kupitz, the business office, technology, our assistant to superintendents, both of them. It was a very big collaborative approach. It's a three-prong approach. So it has security measures into our visitor management system. It has security measures in the event that there's an emergency, large scale and small scale. And then there's a final piece it's called a reunification piece, which just expedites any kind of needs to call home or parents' emergency contact information. The reason that the attachment's not on to the district website, my goal is to get that on for the voting attachments. If it's not, it's just that there's some, parts of the agreement with the solicitor. But if I am able to upload it, it will be redacted because there is security measures on here. And it was through the GSA, it's a federal agency, that this would be purchased. It is coming out of capital and future reoccurring, so it is a reoccurring cost that Mr. Blanchard said that he wouldn't have a problem putting into the technology budget every year if the board approves this initial piece.
And am I correct, that number was $24,000 a year for the?
Correct,
program?
and that's district-wide, so this initiative is district-wide, so that covers each of our buildings.
Okay, thank you.
And so the original purchase and the implementation costs are all capital eligible. The recurring costs we'll have to build in the budget going forward.
Yeah, and Mr. Blanchard did mention he can work that into the technology budget moving forward. Are there any other questions?
He actually just messaged me too. He wanted me to share with the community the Chromebook repair. That should be opening up this week, so he will be sending out the email to the families. That will be open until November 15th, so just be on alert for Chromebook warranty information.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from the board? Any comments or questions from the public on these items? Seeing none, I move to adjourn. Thank you. Oh, sorry. Thank you. So make a motion to move item number 1 to the agenda for next month. I so move.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Thank you. Behavioral Safety Committee, Mrs. Shigater-Zagark.
Myself, Ms. McCurdy, I'm Mr. Nodano present. I make a motion to approve the minutes of the Behavioral Intervention Health and Safety Committee meeting on September 11th.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. There are no items to move to the October 16th meeting, but there is an item for open discussion.
Yes, thank you. Mr. Morris actually alerted me of this donation, and he asked me to share with the board and the community. So we want to thank Jared McCune and Kyle Hankinson. They are both Crestwood graduates. They are the owners of Pro Concrete. They are donating a whole load of lumber to our woodshop class. And with their donation, students will be making clocks, shelves, Adirondack chairs, and flags, just to name a few of the items. So thank you very much for your donation, and Mr. Morris for letting us know.
Any items for discussion from the board? From the public? Seeing none, I adjourn.
Thank you. And that concludes today's committee meeting. Thank you. Meeting adjourned.